welcome in our good friend John McMullen, covers the NFL. Johnny Mac, are you there?
I am here. How are you, Rich?
I'm doing very well. You sound like you are a little under the weather, my friend.
No, not as far as I know, but maybe you're onto something quicker than I am.
I mean, did that game put you to sleep the other night?
All right. I guess I got to pick up the energy. No, it was. That was the playoffs, right? Everything one-score games. Everything comes down to the end. So at least from that perspective, it was exciting. And Aaron Donald making the play. I kind of predicted that. I thought it would be a one-score game, and the Rams' defensive line would be able to make the play at the end of the game. So, you got to give credit to Cincinnati. The biggest thing I take from that game, so when you talk to every single fan base in the NFL, well, you're talking about Eagles fans or New York Giants fans, like a certain someone, everybody is in this thing, because if you can make the Super Bowl on Mike Brown's shoestring budget, anybody can make the Super Bowl. It can be a quick turnaround in this league.
Yeah, you've been saying that for years, no doubt. You've always said you can go from 4 or 5 wins to 9, 10, 11 wins, and maybe in this case 12 wins, 12-5, and make a deep run. And I am curious. Look, I know people Monday morning quarterback, and we look at the officiating, we look at some of the botch calls, the no calls. It happens. I get it. You hate to see that it's thrown. The flags are late to kind of keep the Rams alive, so to speak. Cincinnati got bailed out by the Higgins no call. But how about the play calling by Taylor late? I mean, you just need to get X amount of yards to give your field goal kicker who's got a leg a shot, and then you're going to run Piron a couple times. I mean, I don't know, man. You got Mix in there. I didn't like the 4th down call as well, even though we saw Donald come off the edge. I mean, I know Cincinnati fans were not happy with the play calling late by Zach Taylor.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the play calling more than one you just bring up. It's like, why Piron? Why not Joe Mixon? Why are you trying to get the balls to certain guys in certain situations? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We go all the way back to the NFC Championship game and talking about Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. Not the best in-the-moment coaching, so to speak, when you're talking about big situations, making big decisions. And I think coaching's about preparation. I really do. And then in the moment, you're going to make mistakes. But as long as your guys are prepared to perform, and I think that's where Sean McVay had the advantage. But look, yeah, I mean, in big parts of the game, get the football to your best players. The Rams did that with Cooper Kupp. They had that game completely changed when OBJ tore his ACL. Completely changed.
Totally agree.
And, the fact that, remember, Robert Woods is long gone. He's been out for a while. Tyler Higbee, they lose. So they're really scrounging. You think about the Rams as this great team with all these playmakers, and that's the case when Higbee's out there, when Woods is out there. And then you start thinking about Kupp and OBJ. And all of a sudden, they're all gone. And you're relying on Ben Skoranek, who was, the 3rd receiver on Notre Dame last year. That's tough. That's tough sledding.
Yeah.
And Sean McVay was trying to run the football. Wasn't working at all. And then it became crunch time. And they said, let's get the ball to Cooper Kupp. Starting with the 4th and 1. They can't run the ball at all, so they use a little bit of trickery there to get the 1st down. Then they're just forcing him the football. He finds a way to get open. And you're right, there were some bad calls probably in the game. Certainly, they were letting them play, and all of a sudden at the end of the game, it pops up when you see penalty, and you start going, okay, why now? But you got to give Cooper Kupp a lot of credit for the season he had, the drive he had. Everybody in that stadium, knew they had to go to him, and he still found a way.
Yeah, and by the way, your take on Beckham going down, 100%, because when they come out of that locker room, you get the pick, then you get the field goal, but then you get a 2-play punt, you get a 3-play punt, 3-play punt, 3-play punt, 3-play punt, and then you finally get that touchdown late. So that was tough to watch. I don't know where he's going to be at, being 30 years old and a free agent, torn ACL. I saw these rumors, and I guess there was speculation. I'm always shocked how, when you get the talking heads up there, whether it's Dungy or Rodney Harrison, well, if McVay wins, he's going to get a TV job, he's going to retire. If Donald wins, he's going to retire. Come on, man. I mean, you're 5 minutes after a Super Bowl win. They feel like, hey, no Breeze. We don't know what's going on with Rodgers. No Brady. The conference is right there again for them next year. Like, I don't know. I would be shocked to see Aaron Donald retire, and I would even be more shocked to see McVay walk away.
Well, I wouldn't be completely shocked if Aaron Donald retires. He's that's the type of situation where that's a Hall of Fame player who's had to run. Now he's accomplished everything, and he might go the Calvin Johnson route and just retire at the top of his game and be that legendary player for a long period of time. In the case of Sean McVay, there's a guy just taking advantage of his leverage. 5 years, 2 Super Bowls, now he's got a Lombardi trophy. And you have the history. Remember, John Madden, who people just said goodbye to, and I think he retired at 42, and he became a bigger icon in the booth than he ever did as a coach. But even beyond that, you had Dick Vermeil, who took, I think it was 15 years off. John Gruden, who was a McVay mentor, took a decade off. I think that's the route he's going eventually, to where he's going to go in the booth and he's going to get paid a ton of money, and he's going to press pause on his coaching career and eventually come back. But he's going to do that when he loses the talent and he's not in the mix. So it's Matthew Stafford's no longer in the conversation. Aaron Donald could be the start of that, but it's going to be a while. And right now it's just about gaining leverage, and he knows how much leverage he has, and he's going to be the highest-paid coach in football when he works out the extension with Stan Kroenke. But I guarantee you, Rich, at some point he's going to press pause and go in the booth. He is. I don't think he's going to pull a Madden and completely retire. I think ultimately he'll come back. But at some point he is going to press pause and go on the TV booth.
I mean, listen, that's the blessing and the benefit of being, 35, 36, winning a Super Bowl, take a little time off, you come back, recharge in your 40s, you coach for another 20 years. So there was an estimated 101.1 million TV viewers, up from 2021. So for all this nonsense to talk, to scream and get off my yard, get off my porch, I'm not going to watch the game, people are always going to watch the game. I mean, I was a little, now I went back and rewatched the whole game, but I was a little surprised that they really they dug deep into the Flores situation. You didn't really hear much of it during the broadcast, which I kind of get it. I just found that a little interesting. I get, you got 3, 4, 5 hours you're trying to fill. And then did you notice that Al Michaels didn't mention that missed extra point till about 3 minutes left in the game? When I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, you know what? If they're up by 4, Cincinnati's got to score a touchdown. I was a little surprised Al didn't go to that a little earlier.
Yeah, well, Al's getting up there. Maybe he's losing the fastball. I don't think it was the greatest call at the end of the game, especially when he comped it to the local radio broadcast, who brought a lot more excitement. I even think the 4th and 1 kind of snuck up on people because they didn't make a big deal out of it. And then Donald makes the play, and all of a sudden the game's over. I thought that kind of snuck up on people. Yeah, but, look, Al's been doing it for a long time. He's still very good at it. Looks like he's going to be moving to Amazon. We'll see how that shakes out. Yeah. But I can't complain about that. As far as, I can't, I don't know about you, Rich, but I can't watch any of the pregame stuff. So, if they have 57 hours, that's where you bring up the Flores stuff and all the stuff surrounding the NFL. When you're in the game, you want to concentrate on that particular game, and I think they should. I think that's the way to go. But you're right. I mean, this was not the greatest marquee matchup. I mean, it's not Patrick Mahomes. It's not Aaron Rodgers. And if you add streaming into it, I think the number was over 112 million. So it doesn't matter what teams are in. This is the biggest, certainly, event in this country, and it's the passion of this country. We talk about baseball and the old days being America's pastime. Those are long over. And the NFL is not even America's pastime. It's America's obsession. I mean, people are obsessed with it.
Agree.
And the drama of it. And this was the best year for drama. I don't think the product is the best it's ever been because of all the rule changes and everything that has impacted the game over the years. But anytime we have 7 playoff games in a row coming down to the one-score games, I mean, people are enthralled by it.
No, it was fascinating. It was probably the greatest run of playoff football I've ever witnessed as a fan, and I had to endure the 5 hours of pregame, Johnny Mac, because I was stuck in a hotel room in Dedham, Massachusetts, because it decided to snow after calling 10 fights Saturday night, which ended at 1 a.m., and Richie Q was stuck in Boston. And every guy I met up there, by the way, reminded me of the dude from that Samuel Adams commercial, your cousin from Boston. I mean, oh, my God.
Bunch of Dave Portnoy.
I didn't see El Presidente up there. I wish I would have. It would have been a little more entertaining. But I had my giant snow hat on, and people were staring at me when I was at this venue, and they had all this Patriot stuff, and I just kind of pointed to the fingers, little cachet. All right, 2 more before I let you get out of here. Ben Simmons, James Harden, it's finally done. Now, I know you are the biggest Ben Simmons fan out there. So, being that, listen, man, this kid has to figure out a way to grow a ticker, and you know what? Because if he doesn't play in that March game in Philadelphia, everything you and I and the critics have talked about, everything we basically painted with that stroke regarding his character and lack of heart and it's all going to be justified. Like, if I'm him, I got to play in that game.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play in that game. But that to me is not that big of a deal. That's easy to make. You know, the NBA and the regular season now. You can get around that with a lot of ways and talk about, load maintenance and all that kind of stuff. But, these two teams might see each other in playoffs. And you got to play in the playoffs if it comes down to that. Now, that would be pretty exciting, I have to admit, because obviously I don't think Philadelphia fans, the way they've been painted, and by the way, I put this on Twitter, this narrative of the fans running Ben Simmons out of Philadelphia. Now, I mean, Rich, I got to tell you, I get a lot of vitriol on Twitter at times and social media.
You do.
I have never gotten more killed on Twitter for telling Sixers fans that Ben Simmons wasn't the player that they thought he was. I mean, they attacked me. They went insane. They were so loyal to this guy.
Yeah.
It was mind-numbing.
I agree.
It was embarrassing. And I don't say that to dunk on them. Obviously, they were wrong. That's not what it's about. It's about they were so loyal to this guy, and now they're being spun as the villains by this weird narrative. That's just revisionist history. That's just completely untrue. And, I'm at the point where, you have this one camp where doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter where the facts are. It's evident that he was using the CBA to try to get his money, to try to sit out.
100%.
He made light of mental health issues in a city where Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks went through. And I don't mind saying that, and I'll say that to people's faces, and they say, "Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that." No, you
can. It was a charade. You can say it. It was a charade.
It was an absolute charade. Yep. And people can be disingenuous about that if they want to. But guess what? I don't have to accept your premise.
No,
if you want to be disingenuous about it, go be disingenuous about it. The guy was trying to get his money, trying to get out of town, and he went through the charade. And Godspeed to him. He got out of town. He's probably going to get his money. We'll see how that shakes out. And it'll be up to him to rescue his career. He destroyed it. He pipe bombed his own career. Now he's got to dig himself out of it. We'll see if he can do it.
Well, listen, a couple things. You're 100% accurate and in right on what you're saying, and your thoughts and tweets are justified by Ben Simmons' actions. I mean, it is what it is. People don't want to hear that. They don't want to accept it, and you're right. The media, a lot of them, and some of the fanboys, and a lot of the fans were throwing transcendent, Hall of Famer, here you go. But before the kid even really had a cup of coffee in the NBA, he was not cut out for Philadelphia. It doesn't matter if he goes to Brooklyn or Sacramento or Mars. He's going to be the same lousy, lazy player that has good God-given talent, but he was never able to cultivate it because he just doesn't care. That's what people don't want to hear. He doesn't care.
I will say this, Rich. You know, there might be a wake-up call. He has a ton of talent, and if it is, I agree with you, it's unlikely. But if he does have the wake-up call and he starts improving his game and becomes an all-star and a true all-star and a great player, I'll be the first one to pat him on the back and say, great job. But that was a wake-up call. Yeah. It was never going to happen here. So the people hand-wringing about, oh, he's going to become this. Even if he does, it wasn't going to happen in Philadelphia. It wasn't going to happen here, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
the Sixers won the trade.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean they're going to win an NBA title, but they were getting nothing from Ben Simmons, and now they got one of the great scorers in NBA history. I don't know if it'll work out. Odds are it probably won't as far as the championship, but you got to shoot your shot. That's the one thing about Sam Hinkie and the Sixers. These people can't get over it. They can't talk about today. Everything is about next year, next week, sometimes the window's open.
Yep.
You got to go for
I agree.
it. That's where I give Daryl Morey credit and the Sixers credit. They're going for it.
Yep.
And they probably won't get it done, but that doesn't mean you can be thinking about the future in perpetuity at all times. At some point, you got to go for it.
Listen, Tom Cruise said in Risky Business, sometimes you got to say what to blank. So, absolutely. He is Johnny Mac. Follow him on Twitter at JF McMullen. We'll get into a little more of the Sixers next week when we could do a little off-season NFL as well, because I want to follow, the Simmons follow, the Harden follow. And your thoughts are 100% correct. And your opinion, I wholeheartedly agree with. So, as we typically do together, right? I mean, we are on the same page here when it comes to this guy. He's an immature clown. So
yeah, I got a lot of be betters on Twitter because I dare criticize.
You don't.
His mental health.
Why? Because it's taboo? No, you called out the BS. Because we're so sensitive. I wasn't loved or hugged. Get over it. I mean, seriously, we've all been there. All right, Johnny Mac, go enjoy your Tuesday, pal. We'll talk next week. Guys, appreciate a couple minutes. All right, you got it. My guy, John McMullen, he's 100% correct. Seriously. Oh, no. Mike Golick Jr. tweeted out, we're not allowed to have an opinion. Mina Kimes turned around and deleted it. Shut up. All of you. Call it for what it is. Call a spade a spade. Call it for what it is. I don't want to hear this is inappropriate. Oh, the guy's really hurt. No. He found a friggin' loophole. And he decided, whoa, mental illness, maybe I can get paid now. Huh? I mean, seriously, stop. We've all had dark times in our lives. You still got to go to work. You still got to get up, and you still got to produce. That is fact. That is a fact. We'll talk more about this on the other side. Quick timeout, 4:40.